Hi everyone, I'm Kieran Clare, journalist with Australian Property Investor magazine. Today we're talking with Zaki Ameer, who is a property mentor who helped our young gun Robert establish his property portfolio. So thanks for joining us, Zaki.
Thanks, Kieran. Good to speak to you.
Terrific, mate. Look, first thing to kick off, a young investor like Robert, what are some of the important factors he has to consider when he's just starting out and building his property portfolio?
I guess Rob is a young gun and in his late 20s. The importance is with that generation, or I guess it's the generation that I'm part of also, is the ability to be patient. We might, in case in his situation with the savings, thankfully, he was disciplined enough to save the funds himself. Was that okay? We're not going to go cracking. I mean, it was cracking buying 3 properties in a month, which is probably a huge deal for majority of property investors out there. But in my view, I could have probably bought 5 with that, but I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want him to give him the ideas also because it's important to be patient and be appreciative of how far you've come anyway.
So look, for young investors, should they have a different investment criteria, do you think? As opposed to an older, more established investor?
Well, I guess the ability to take risks could be different because, you could use the idea of that, well, I have more time, assuming I might continue to work or live till 65, 70, that you might be able to take a bigger risk. But that still does not mean, in my view, that you just take that risk unnecessarily. I think you still need to follow the same plan of finding good locations with good tenants and good cash flow returns. But yeah, you could probably, take a bit of a bigger call as you would in risk. Yeah.
Young investors are going to hit some hurdles, I imagine, that more established investors wouldn't in terms of finance or even learning how to locate property. What are some of those hurdles and how can they set themselves up to overcome them?
Well, definitely from a financial perspective, I mean, banks and lenders are looking for stability. And we could see Gen Ys or, anyone in their 20s or early 30s moving from job to job. That wasn't the case for Rob, which was good. It was in his own family business. But that's an issue I see is that banks do not tend to like to lend, especially if you're borrowing over 80%. And mortgage insurance is involved, is where you're switching jobs every few months, especially in varying industries. They want to see stability in employment, and that's something I encourage. Is to be employed, especially while you're holding on to the investments also.
Now, Robert St. Mary's property turned out to be a bit of a steal. How do you go about finding these properties that are either undervalued or have this really great potential for capital growth?
Yeah, look, St. Mary's is an area out west in Sydney that I remember recently on the news. They said they had 16% growth in the last year. So prices were on the rise. I mean, sometimes even 100,000 more than what it was a year ago. But once again, the relationships you have with people like me, with the agents and even the owners, we were able to find that deal. And what happened in that particular deal in St. Mary's is actually it was an average novice buyer purchasing that property, and I think they had extended that cool off beyond the 10 days and then decided just to walk out of the deal. And at that time, the vendor was frustrated because he had just been hanging around for a month at a higher price that I was able to get in. And the agents knew me well, and they know me for my commitment that I'll get the deal through and done, that I was able to get onto it within a day. So it never went back on the market, never went for anybody else actually to be made.
Is that one of the advantages for buyers going out and using someone like a property mentor when they go to locate property as opposed to just going it out and doing it themselves?
Yeah, Karen, because we work with a team of people. So there's the finance guys, there's the buyer's agents, there's the builders, as Rob's property is being renovated at the moment. So we all work together so that when we need to do an assessment of a property for a deal that's really good, we can get it done fairly quickly as opposed to someone trying to do this all on their own.
That's right. Well, look, Zaki, you've certainly helped out Rob a great deal with his and probably plenty of other people as well. We thank you for your time coming onto the Skype today and giving us a bit of wisdom.
Thanks, Karen.